Facebook Live. Facebook Live. Got a little bit of a cold today, but little my voice is a little bit cracked. But it's been a while since I've been here, and I wanted to come on and talk a little bit today about putting skin in the game. Without risk, there is no reward. So this is a lesson that continues to come up for me, and maybe you've seen this in your life, where you really want something in your life, and I'll talk about it like this. So a good while ago, I went to the doctor because they found that I had high blood pressure. So I went to the doctor. I'm 43 now. I think I was like 25 then, and they wanted to put me on blood pressure medicine because I had been to the doctor a few times and I had blood pressure issues and my blood pressure was high. So they wanted to put me on blood pressure medicine, and that was like their immediate response. Blood pressure medicine, let's put you on blood pressure medicine. So I'd ask a question. I said, can I fix the issues with my blood pressure with diet and exercise? And the doctor said, yes, but I still love to put you on this medicine. Okay, that's fine. I didn't take the medicine. I went out and I did some diet. I changed my diet extremely. I um, started to do juicing and went out and got all these fruits and vegetables, and I was juicing all kinds of things. I would get like 10 different kind of like strange fruits. I was like cutting up yucca root and eating that and some all kinds of crazy stuff that I had never eaten before, and I was just mixing it all together. And I felt really, really, really good. I felt good. I started working out. I started going to the gym, and I felt good. It was amazing. But I say that to say this, in that moment, I sacrificed a lot. I put a lot, I gave up a lot of things that I was doing. I stopped eating cheeseburgers, I stopped eating fried foods. Um, I did a lot of things. I sacrificed, you know, I, I risked the immediate reward of eating those things to be able to have lower blood pressure and feel better. And I felt great. My skin cleared up. I even was doing, it was kind of funny because it was like doing deals with wheatgrass. This lady sold wheatgrass from the Pure and Simple Cafe locally here, and she was the person who was supplying their wheatgrass, and we would meet behind the Walmart, and she'd give me these bags of wheatgrass, and I would buy that and also juice that. And that stuff was really great. I noticed my scars went away and some really great things. And that was some years ago. My eating habits are not as good as they were then, but I share that because we, if we want to have change, we got to put some skin in the game. We have to make some risk. We have to make some sacrifice. If we want change in our lives, in our relationships, in our marriage, we have to make sacrifice. We have to make some sacrifices if we want change. There's no other way. If you want to build muscle, when you go to the gym, you have to sacrifice your time. You have to sacrifice your comfort because lifting weights is painful, you know. And one of the things that I see with the way that a lot of things go now is we kind of live in a society where people just want that, that, hey, I'll just pay money and have that immediate fix. Like, go to the doctor, they give me a pill, or go to the whatever professional, and the insurance will pay for it and everything will get all better. But there's a downside to that because we're not putting as much skin in the game. We're not sacrificing. We're not um, putting out what we want to get back. And if we're not putting out the effort, if we're not putting out the um, what do I want to say? If we're not putting out the energy, whatever that is, we're not going to get that energy back. And I think that's something that we've been led astray from. That, you know, I've learned in my life, if I want change, I have to take responsibility for that change. If I want things to, if I want my health to be better, it's my responsibility to take my health in my hands. If I want a better marriage, it's my responsibility to figure out what I can do. It's easy to blame everybody else and say, well, that damn doctor or my wife or my husband, or, you know, it's easy to look outside to the other things and say, well, that's the reason I am where I am. But if we're honest with ourselves, ask yourself, is it really because of all these things, or is it because that we tell ourselves, if we tell ourselves that those things, we're not going to move. We're going to say, well, I can't do anything about it because they're not going to do anything. I did that for years of my life in my marriage. You know, I can't do anything about this until she changes. Nothing's going to change until she changes. So, and you know, the truth of the matter is, we get what we put out. When I put little effort into my life, guess what I get out? Not much. Same way with my health. Same way with my marriage, and same way with everything. My physical well-being. If I sit on the couch every day and I don't sacrifice that comfort and that time, in the long run, that's not really comfort, because if you sit on the couch for long enough, your back is going to start hurting. It does me. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit older. Um, but if I sit on the couch long enough, my back will start to hurt pretty bad. You know, they say if you have back pain to move around. I don't know. It seems to work okay for me. Um, but if we want a change in our life, we have to put out. We have to put the energy out, whether that be time, whether that be physical energy, whether that be mental energy, whether that be financial energy, whatever it is. We have to we have to put out. We got to put skin in the game. We have to risk. Without risk, there is no reward. Just like with me coming here today to share this with you, because this is important information that I feel like everybody could value from hearing. This is important information. You know, it's important to know. If we don't, if we just go to the doctor and say, "Fix me," what they got? How many other patients? You know, they care. But if we don't care about ourselves, and I know this from personal experience, years ago, whenever I first, you know, I had terrible drinking problem and drug problem, and when I came around to people that could help me, I wanted them to call me. I had somebody say, "Hey, call me whenever you need me." And I said, "Well, aren't you supposed to call me?" And he just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. He's like, "Man, if you want my help, you call me." But we've kind of, a lot of us, I know I was raised, you know, um, I want you to, if you don't care about me, then, oh, what, then what? Well, we have to care about ourselves. And sometimes that's a practice, that's a skill set. If we don't know how to care about ourselves, then that's a skill set that we can learn. And it takes time. But today's, when's a better time than now to start? To start putting just a little bit of skin in the game, whatever that means. But that's what I wanted to come here and talk about today, because if we don't take responsibility for our marriage, for our health, for our well-being, for our understanding, for our peace, for our fulfillment, nobody else is going to do it for us. You know, and it's easy to invest in things that make us feel good for just a minute. You know, spend money on that one thing that's going to be, oh yeah. How many people invest money into growing their skill sets, like communication, like understanding, empathy, emotional intelligence? Because those skill sets for relationships are really, really, really important. And a lot of people don't spend the time, the money, or the energy on those things to be able to grow those skill sets so they can have the relationships that they want. And a lot of people go their whole lives miserable in their relationships because they're not willing to invest in that part for whatever reason, because maybe their parents didn't invest, or their friends don't invest, or because, the people that we hang out with sometimes can co-sign that stuff, like, can you believe it? I can't believe my wife is doing this to me, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it may be. It's easy to get stuck. There's a lot of people out there that are on the complain train. And listen, if we're complaining about something, then we're not seeing what we can do about it. That's a pretty bold statement, but I'm going to say it's true. If we're complaining about anything, we're not seeing what we can do to change that. We're not seeing the truth of that. We're just saying, there's nothing I can do about it. And if you're okay with that, that's okay. But if you want that to change, this is an opportunity to start looking at that differently. What are you complaining about? What can you do differently? There's a lot of things we can do differently. It just takes time, and being willing to look for a different way. So what do you have happening in your life? Just imagine if you decided today that you were going to take responsibility for your peace, for your health, for your marriage, 100%, and you would do everything, regardless of what. You would show up in a way that you knew was going to bring you fulfillment in the long term, and you made that decision to do that today. What would your marriage look like in 5 years? If you stop blaming your partner for everything that's happening in your marriage, and you just decide, I'm going to show up 100% every day, and what I want, you want attention, you want understanding, bring that to your marriage. Cultivate that within yourself, and then bring it. Bring what you want to life, and you'll always be happy. And learning how to cultivate that is a practice. It's a skill set. Learning how to regulate our emotions and generate positive states is a skill set. It's a great skill set to learn. If we learn that skill set, we can do anything. If we can learn how to generate positive states within ourselves without the necessity of any outside force, then, we need to eat, we have to sleep, but with little outside force, and we learn how to generate that energy within us that we've been born with, that power, then we can start to bring that to our lives and be the change that we want to see in the world. That was Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change that you want to see in your relationship. Be the change that you want to see in the life around you. You want happiness? Be happy for others. You want attention? Go pay somebody else attention. Put skin in the game. Be willing to put yourself out there. Be willing to be it, whatever. Here, be embarrassed, whatever. I don't know. Like for somebody to judge you, because they're going to judge you regardless of what you do. You can sit there at home and not do anything, and they'll say, can you imagine? They just sit there at home and they don't do anything. Whatever. People are going to judge, because people's opinion of other people is based on how they feel about themselves. People's opinion of what's happening outside of them is based on how they feel about themselves. When I'm angry with people, it's because, I'm hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, sick, whatever. It has to do with me. It has to do with my perception. When people judge, it has to do with their perception of that situation. And when we're in a negative state, we judge things negatively. And when we're in a positive state, we judge things positively. That's one of the great reasons why being able to change our state and learning how to create the state that we want and be in the mood and mode that we want, and learn how to control that within ourselves is so powerful. When we can do that, we can bring what we want to life. We can generate that force and be the force, and bring it, and help to encourage others to do the same. We've been given God-given gifts, that we can cultivate within ourselves. We've been taught that, we need all these outside things to be able to have that happiness, and it leads us astray. But you have that power within you. We all have that power within us. It's just a matter of cultivating that, and continuing to understand and see the truth that we can feel better. It may take time, it may take energy, and it's going to take some risk. Without risk, there is no reward. So I appreciate y'all. It's been a while. Thank you so much. My wife's calling me on my telephone, so I'm going to go. So I appreciate and love y'all, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.